data can offer interesting ways to capture value in digital services by generating an orthogonal two-sided platform from a byproduct of a service itself. We saw how Nike Plus or Strava use enhanced advertising, e-ethnography and data trading strategies in a client-as-a-source perspective to extract value from this byproduct. But is this the only way to generate a client-as-a-source strategy? Would it be possible to create a system just for the sake of collecting data? We've been asking ourselves this question for a while, until we looked at a digital service and found a satisfactory answer. Yes, it is possible to develop a service not starting from the needs of the users, but from the data that we need, generating what we call data-driven innovation. In other words, instead of finding value in data as a byproduct of a service, we can put data at the center and generate a service to collect it. This story starts with Jawbone, an American company that launched Up, a smart bracelet that was very popular at the beginning of the 2000s. Jawbone Up made a promise similar to the one of following companies like Fitbit, a smart device that aims to observe our behaviors and our movements to give us various insights about our physical state. One of the unique features of a Jawbone app, though, was not related to the user's activity during the day, such as counting the steps or the calories, but during the night. Did it ever happen to you to sleep only a few hours and wake up absolutely refreshed and ready to conquer the world? And other times, to sleep 8, 9, or even 10 hours and wake up exhausted and without any strength? Yes? Well, one answer to this very common phenomenon lies in the moment we wake up, or rather, the phase of the sleep we were in when the alarm clock wakes us up. Based on studies that tell how we micro-move in different phases during a sleep cycle, they developed a smart alarm function. Instead of asking the user what time she wanted to wake up, they asked the user for an acceptable time interval to wake up. As a result, they promised to wake you up during a light sleep phase with the effect of making your day begin in a wonderful and easy way. In other words, they might wake you up 15 minutes earlier, but you would feel better. In the years of app's popularity, Jawbone collected amazing quantities of data on how people sleep. They observed the same person's sleep many nights in a row and linked this data to external sources. For example, starting from the date and the geographical position, they could get the external weather conditions, or looking at other data from the bracelet, they could get the number of steps, the number of sleeping hours, and so on. This data is so valuable and so big that in the book Big Bang Disruption, authors even hypothesize a correlation between the diffusion of this type of products and the closure of many centers for the study of sleep in the United States. Back to us. The kick of this story is another app. Not the app that was downloaded to use the bracelet, but the following App Coffee smartphone application. App Coffee is a mobile app released by Jawbone in March 2014. The functioning of the app was very simple. Do you want to know how caffeine affects you? Use the app for 7 days and inform the app all the times you drink something with caffeine in it: coffee, cappuccino, Coke, chocolate. In a week, the app will provide you with your personal relationship with caffeine. How? Mixing this data with those coming from a wristband app, monitoring the sleep, the steps, and so on. According to Bandar Antabi, head of special project at Jawbone when App Coffee was created, the project started because we happened to be looking at which food items were logged in the most often in our food system. And after an internal hackathon, we understood we were missing some kind of data. When and how much caffeine do you users consume? In order to get relevant insights on the relationship between caffeine and sleep patterns, they developed App Coffee. The data gathered through this app entered in the Jawbone's database, enhancing the service they offer through the main app, improving the feedbacks and insights they offer to their end users through the main RiskMed app. It seems we are again in front of an orthogonal two-sided platform. Jawbone creating a platform, and one group of customers, represented by the end users of a mobile app, who receive the main service for free, providing back the data necessary for the service. On the other hand, though, the company itself acts as a data consumer, willing to have those data to enhance ongoing research and possibly trade them somehow. The app is generated to get the data and not the other way back. Similar stories can be told on different cases, such as Parkinson Empower, who seeks to gather data on the evolution of a Parkinson's disease with a double purpose to help the patients in slowing down the symptoms while gathering data for research. Or even Duolingo, which in its early days experimented a system to have the user translating in real-time short sentences in their own language to offer a translation service to third parties. Anyhow, we are looking at cases where a set of data has been gathered for a specific purpose that is not linked to the satisfaction of a need of the users of the first site. In other terms, we are in front of services driven by the need of data. This is data-driven innovation. In other words, an orthogonal two-sided platform can be built not by looking for orthogonal clients once you have data, but rather by starting with the data you want to get. The process to follow would be: first, you need to identify the orthogonal customer. What is his innovation problem? What are the data he needs? Second, you need to identify the data that can solve the problem. How should it be done? What variables do we need to consider? Third, once we have identified the data, we get to the key point. Who can generate those data for us? In other words, who are the users that we will to put on the first side and to whom we will offer a digital service through which they will get the data we are looking for. And finally, 4, the trickiest step. What do we need to offer these people to convince them to generate and provide us that data? In other words, what is the service that enables the creation of that data? Jawbone answered that question, understanding that many people are interested in knowing their reaction to caffeine, and then created App Coffee to give them an answer while collecting exactly the data they were looking for. In a sense, they opened the data-driven innovation era, transforming the data from a byproduct that can be used to capture value to the main point of the whole system, and consequently making the app now the real byproduct.